Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to discuss all the hidden costs to practice as a doctor in the UK. These costs are not often talked very openly because for some reason we don't really pay attention to these costs, but these things can make a real difference when it comes to your your expenses, monthly expenses and annual expenses. So knowing hidden figures that cost you to maintain yourself as a doctor in the UK is really important. And I think I was really lucky because in the beginning of my GP training I got to know these all these numbers and all the certain tips and tricks which I am going to tell you later in this video, because those tips really helped me to go through my journey smoothly. Please know these are the costs you need to maintain yourself as a doctor in the UK, especially as a trainee in the UK. I'm mainly focusing on GP trainees, but there's no big difference when it comes to other specialty trainees as well. And please know I'm not explaining the costs for you to either migrate to the UK as a doctor or do your exams to be able to get the GMC registration. So this is something beyond that. And recently I have done two very important updated videos. One is the income as a junior doctor in the UK, and the other one is the expenses I spend as a family of 5 here living in the UK. This video comes as a continuation of this series for you to get a better idea of the incomes and expenses and the financial status of a junior doctor living in the UK with their family. And let's start the video. The first compulsory fee you have to pay annually to be able to work as a doctor in the UK is the GMC registration fees. GMC stands for General Medical Council, and every doctor practicing in the UK must be registered under General Medical Council, and to maintain your registration status you have to pay the annual retention fees. So the GMC registration fee for new doctors as of May 2023 is £166. Until your 5th year after your graduation you are considered as a newly registered doctor. So if you are within 5 years after your graduation, you have to pay only £166 per annum for the GMC registration. After you have completed 5 years as a doctor, you have to pay the full GMC registration fee, which is £433. Please know that this amount I am talking is the amount as of May 2023. This amount can change annually. If you are a doctor in training, you need to register with your particular college. So I am a GP trainee. I am registered under Royal College of General Practitioners as an associate in training, or AIT. So I am paying Royal College of General Practitioners my registration fee annually. This amount is £423 every year. This registration gives me access to my learning portfolio and also gives me certain learning materials, e-learning materials and certain courses and webinars. Honestly, what is most important for me is the access to the portfolio, because that is a must that every trainee maintain their own e-portfolio. So it's £423 to get access to your portfolio. So for my day-to-day training as a GP trainee, and also for all the assessments I am getting from my other colleagues and my trainer is also covered under this fee, I suppose. If you are on a time out of training for an extended period, or if you are on an extended leave like maternity leave, you can ask for a discounted fee from your RCGP registration fees. You are also eligible to ask for a reduced fee if you are training less than full time, but it has to be less than 75%. Currently I am training 80% less than full time. I am paying the full RCGP registration fees. I think the third main cost we have to bear as trainees or doctors in training in the UK is our exam fees, because these are not covered in any of the above fees I have described. So for GP trainees you have to sit for 2 exams. First one is RCGP AKT, that is Applied Knowledge Test. So you have to do AKT like after you have completed your first year in training. This can be the 2nd year or 3rd year in your training. So as of May 2023, the AKT exam fee is £470. For me, when I did my AKT, I was on maternity leave, so I was not getting my full salary as well. I was on statutory maternity pay, and this £470 was a big hit for me when I had to pay that for my exam. Out of everyone who is sitting the AKT exam every year, about 20 to 30% people fail the exam and they have to resit the exam. So this is something you have to bear in mind, because it's a costly exam. You have to prepare for your exam very well. So in order to prepare for the exam, so you might need to purchase online MCQ banks, or you might need to go for a preparatory course, and you have to bear that cost as well in your mind. So minimum cost, I think, for online MCQ bank can be somewhere around 40 to 50 pounds, but it can really go up, and the AKT exam is very competitive. There are like really expensive training courses for AKT, and if you have decided to purchase something really expensive, so that can add up to your exam preparation cost as well. The second component of MRCGP exam is your SCA, that is a simulated consultation assessment, and this is a really expensive exam. So believe it or not, the SCA exam fee as of May 2023 is £1,180. This is a ridiculous amount we have to pay just to sit for this practical exam, and I suppose this they are charging us for all the preparations, and it is an online exam we are doing in our own GP practice, but there will be simulated actors and invigilators. So I think this ridiculous amount of money covers all those things. As for AKT, even SCA, people can fail, so you might have to resit the exam as well. Just imagine, if you have to resit the exam, you have to do it quite soon after the first exam because you are in your final year, and you have to pay another £1,180 for that. If you are thinking of going for a preparatory course or getting preparatory material online, you have to bear that cost also in mind. So the other cost you have to pay to maintain yourself as a doctor who is able to practice here in the UK is your indemnity cover, medical indemnity cover. So this is like an insurance you are paying every year to cover for your indemnity. So this will cover any sort of legal support or legal backup you might need in future as a doctor. There are like few private companies providing this private insurance to doctors. Usually every trust will give you some sort of indemnity cover for basic requirements, but when I started in the NHS, I was told that the cover your trust gives you is not enough. And you also have to sign up with a private insurance company for your indemnity. So I have been paying my medical indemnity every year up until last year. I think the amount I paid was around £80 per year for my indemnity, but since last year all the GP trainees do not have to pay this because I think our deaneries have taken this over and they are paying our indemnity on behalf of us. So other optional expense you can have is your BMA membership. BMA stands for British Medical Association. So BMA is like a doctors union, but they provide a lot of support for all the doctors. So any sort of issue you might face when you are working, it could be your issues with your salary, with your rota, and it provides you with a lot of training materials, and also in their website you can find a lot of information you need to practice day to day as a doctor. They do a lot of work to support locum doctors and to support locum pay and all those things as well. BMA membership is £20 per month. So in a year you are paying £240 for BMA membership if you are a member. So other expenses you have to bear, especially if you are a GP trainee, can be the expenses for your equipments, because in the hospital we are provided with our equipments like thermometers, ophthalmoscope, otoscopes, your sphygmomanometer, and even your stethoscope sometimes. But when you're practicing in the GP clinics, certain GP practices are not provided you with equipment. But I think most of the practices will provide you the basic things, but you cannot ask for a stethoscope from your GP practice. And certain equipment costs you will need to bear in your mind. For example, myself, now this is like in my final year in GP training, so when I have finished my training, I have to hand over all the equipments I was given from my practice. So I am very mindful that I will have to buy all these things, like I will have to buy an otoscope, ophthalmoscope, thermometer, blood pressure machine very soon. So I think this is something you need to bear in your mind as well. Whenever possible, if you buy your equipment and keep it for future, I think that is a sensible thing to do. And I recently had to buy a stethoscope because my stethoscope literally broke apart. I have used my previous Classic 2 for more than 10 years, so I had to upgrade my stethoscope, and so that cost is also an added cost. So finally I will summarize the costs I paid to maintain myself as a GP trainee for last 3 years. So annually I pay £433 for my GMC registration, and my Royal College of General Practitioners AIT membership I paid £423, and so this is total £856 This is mandatory amount I am paying every year, £856. Apart from that, last year I have also paid £470 for my AKT, £630 for my AKT preparatory course, and I paid £205 for my Littmann master cardiologist stethoscope. So you can see when these expenses comes in front of you as a lump sum amount, it can be a real hit to your pocket. I'm going to tell you a couple of tips so you will not feel that burden as a huge burden, and also how you can minimize these costs. So the first advice I found really helpful, and I really urge you also do this when you are starting new as a doctor in the UK, or if you are starting your training soon. What you can do is, from your very first salary you are getting into your bank account, you can set up a direct debit to another account, maybe a savings account or a different account. Direct debit £100 every month. This amount is going to go to your bank and it will get accumulated over time. So this is, you can use this for all the expenses to all the above mentioned expenses. So I have my second bank account, I have set up £100 direct debit every month. I have set up direct debit for my GMC fees and also my RCGP registration fees. So I don't even feel this amount getting deducted from my bank every year. I have used that for my AKT. That is why I could use such a big amount like £600 for my AKT preparatory course, and also I can use this amount for my SCA, which is coming in near future. I think this is a brilliant idea. If you can set up a direct debit to a separate account, you can take out a lot of burden from your head. So the next tip is, take few minutes and set up a HMRC online account. HMRC is Her Majesty of Revenue and Customs, I think. So HMRC app, download it to your mobile phone. So once you set up your online account and download your app, and when you open your app, you can see everything related to your income and your income tax in this app, ever since you've started working in the UK. So this is very transparent. So via this HMRC account, online account, you can apply for tax return for these mandatory expenses you are paying to maintain yourself as a professional. So things like your GMC registration, RCGP registration, and even for the exam fees, AKT, and also even for my the purchasing my stethoscope, I have applied for tax return, and they will give you a tax-free amount for all these expenses. So in this way you are eligible to claim for I think about 40% tax return from your expenses. And the next thing I want to tell you, that if you are going for any courses, just look in your deanery website that all these courses are covered from your study budget. Please use your study budget. Certain AKT preparatory courses are covered in your study budget, but this is a very small amount of money you are getting. And certain deaneries supply free online MCQ banks. For us, we got the AKT online I think past medicine subscription free of charge, and also the 14 fish subscription fee of charge from our deanery. So have a look if you are eligible for free subscriptions from your deanery, and also if you are traveling in and out for courses, if you have to stay in a hotel, for example, for some mandatory course, all these expenses you can reclaim from your study budget. We were told that our study budget has no cap, but really speaking, there are like a lot of restrictions when you're trying to claim from your study budget. But still worth having a look if you can claim the expenses you are spending from your study budget. And also, if you are in a GP practice and you happen to do home visits on a daily basis, and if you are using your own car, you can claim back those travel expenses as well. Once you know the process, it's very easy. Everything is online, but if you don't know, it can be very overwhelming. So when you have free time, just find out from your medical HR how you can reclaim your travel expenses for home visits, for example, and have a look at your HMRC website and how to reclaim the tax return for your mandatory expenses. If you do once, the second time when you're doing it, it is very easy. If you really do the calculations, the amount you can save is considerable. So please have a look at those, and I hope this video have given you some insight onto the hidden costs that you have to bear annually as a doctor. Please leave a comment below if you have more questions, and if you think this video was helpful and you want to help my channel, please hit that like button and also subscribe if you haven't done so, and I will see you again with another video. Bye.